My name is Michael Thompson Jr. and I'm here to talk about two of Dr. Medina's brain rules from his book, Brain Rules, the 12 Principles for Surviving and Thriving at Work, Home, and at School. I've already written about the first 8 rules and how they apply to the business that I'm in particular, and that's marketing communications and winning others over. But today I was going to talk about rules 9 and 10. So I've chosen a different medium, a video, based on what these rules are about. So let's just jump right in. Number 9, brain rule number 9, is sensory integration. It's about sensory integration, and specifically Dr. Medina builds the foundation of sensory integration and how important it is through a study that Dr. Richard Mayer did. And this study is really simple but very, very powerful. And he had a group of people and he put them into 3 smaller groups. And he took one piece of information and he delivered that piece of information to 1 sense in the first group. So he read it to the first group. And then for the second group, he took the same piece of information but had them read it with their eyes using sight. But then for the third group, he took a combination of both of those senses and delivered the exact same information. As you'd expect, the third group had a higher recall, but the the percentage higher of recall is what is so staggering, as well as the direct impact that the third group saw from an increase in problem solving. It went up as much as 75% in some cases. So clearly, a multimedia approach to delivering a message is what's so critical and impactful. The second point that I wanted to make about sensory integration is about smell. That's one of the senses, of course. But marketers don't have smell at the top of their list when we're talking about especially advertising tactics, because you can't do scratch and sniff television or even digital. But magazine publications have used the cologne and perfume samples in each of the magazines to let people sample that. But let's take it another step down to direct sales, and maybe even an example that's a little bit closer to home, and that's with Starbucks, one of the biggest American brands. And sense of smell was something that they ran across as something very important, especially when it comes to their products. So in January of 2008, they actually discontinued the use of breakfast sandwiches on their menu. It wasn't because the breakfast sandwiches themselves weren't selling. It's the fact that the smell of heating the bacon, heating the egg and the cheese for the sandwich negatively impacted and interfered with the aroma of the coffee that was brewing. And so Starbucks did research and found that part of the Starbucks brand is associated with that coffee shop and the coffee shop feel and all the different senses that the coffee shop gives people and all the different senses that it actually stimulates within people. And one of those is one of the most important ones is smell. And so they, like I said, discontinued the use of those products and saw their coffee sales come back up. The 10th rule from Brain Rules is vision, and specifically vision trumps all senses. And this one has an old cliche that's been associated with it and been proving it for many, many years, and that's a picture is worth 1,000 words. But when somebody says that, what they're really saying is that one great image can do the work, carry the load of 1,000 words on paper or 1,000 words spoken. And so it's critical that as marketers we understand the power of imagery and what is happening in the brain when our consumers are scanning different media or online are being bombarded with message after message. USA Today is a great example of this. Back in the early 80s, 82, when USA Today was born, the founders of USA Today encountered some resistance and some naysayers, if you will, to the entire USA Today concept working. And it's based primarily off of colors and graphs and pictures. And now, today, almost 30 years later, it's the most widely read newspaper in the United States. So something to be said about that. As far as applying this to the businesses that we're in, that you might be in, one of the quickest or lowest hanging fruit is your PowerPoint presentations. Go back and look at some of your PowerPoint presentations and see if there are places where you could take an entire slide, the message of an entire slide with words and all that, and take that and use one image, and have one image carry the load of what all of the different words were up there. I promise you that presentation will be a lot more interesting to everyone in the room. It will be a lot more memorable to everyone in the room. Presentation Zen is another book that I might do a review on. And that whole book is devoted to this concept of keeping your listeners in your presentations interested in what you're saying, and then keeping it memorable. And part of the philosophy of Presentation Zen is cut out the words. Try to get rid of as many words as you can. Now, I agree that there are some presentations about complex issues and systems and processes that without words you cannot successfully convey the message. But in general, there are many slides out there that could use one image to really deliver a message in an effective and memorable way. So that's Brain Rules 9 and 10. I'll probably be back with another video blog for the last two rules, rules 11 and 12. 11 is on gender and how the male and female brain are different and function differently, and the power of both of those sexes when it comes to problem solving and idea generating. And then the final rules is one of my I guess one of the most relevant to me right now, and that's exploration. That we are born with an amazing curiosity for new things and to explore. So check back at brainwooer.com for the last installment of the 12 rules that Dr. Medina has written about in his book Brain Rules, the 12 principles for surviving and thriving at work, home, and at school. Thanks.